All right. Hello, home service pros. Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 163. Today, we still have Mr. Kim Hopkins on board, and we're going through chapter 3, I believe, marketing, my favorite topic of $1 million contracting. And without further ado, welcome to episode 3 for Kim Hopkins. Kim, welcome to the show, sir.
Why, thank you, Mark.
So today we're going to talk about my most favorite topic in chapter 3 and maybe even 4, marketing and promotions in the book. So let's talk about a couple of things here, or lots of things, but we'll kick it off with slow versus fast marketing. I kind of liked your topic there, and we'll let you have it from there.
Okay. In all honesty, I didn't prepare for this interview. I kind of forgot what the concept, like slow is like you gradually build up on it. Like
Yeah,
what's
slow marketing, like I'm just going to go off the top of my head here, like SEO,
Oh, right.
maybe your
Okay.
social media. These things are going to take a while to give a return on the investment, and versus, let's say, Google Ads, where somebody's searching intents there, I need to fix my electrical panel.
Okay, got it. Now I know what you're referring to. Yeah, so this is basically about internet marketing mostly, the slow
Right.
versus fast. Slow, and the way it works is, let's say, and I have a second company that builds websites for contractors, a little boutique thing. It's not a big deal, but occasionally.
Happycontractor.com.
That's true. Thank you. That's true. Anyway, so we build websites, and people may think, okay, now I've got a website. Now the people are just going to be calling me every minute. That's not what happens. What happens with a website is it could be the best website on the planet. It's now on the internet, ready to go. And if anyone goes to that, the domain name for that, like Joe's Electric or Joe's Plumbing, whatever, they get the best website on the planet, and that website can do a lot of work for them, for the customer and for the owner. They can essentially, it can say, okay, here's Mr. Customer, here's a page about the exact thing you wanted to get done, and here's our whole uh, plan to lay it out, and this is what we do. So give us a call, and we'll take care of it for you. And they will. Like that's kind of promotion and sales all at once. And then
Right.
when the person answers they answer the phone and they talk to the customer. They're merely delivering on the promises that the website made. And that works really, really well. There's only this one little tiny problem with that whole thing. That is, like, how do people know to go to that website? Where's the domain name? They don't know. They're like brand new. They never heard of the company before. So
Yep.
now that's where you get into the slow versus fast marketing. Like in either case, when you have a really great website and you follow up with that with somebody on the phone, or responding to emails, and as more and more time goes by, probably AI communication will take care of some of that. The customer will sign up for whatever that service is based on that follow up of a great website content. But slow versus fast has to do with finding that website. So a slow way to do that is you can put up you do work already. Like the company, let's say it's a plumber's out there doing work, and the person that got it done, there's a neighbor and they see a sign on a truck, and then maybe they may call. That would be slow because it's not that much. Maybe once every month, that might happen once, that kind of thing, depending on
Right.
how many trucks are out there. And there's neighbors that refer other people, there's relatives. So referred business is kind of slow unless you have a ton of history behind you and many, many thousands of customers. At that point, when they're referring, it's not so slow anymore. Every day you're getting people calling you because of referrals from thousands of previous happy customers. Uh, you can put an ad in a newspaper, I suppose. I don't think that happens much anymore, or
Right.
magazines. In my own house, I get these little tiny magazines like Home Pro or whatever, and
Right.
people are advertising. And anyway, you can some of that's fast. I'll talk about fast for a minute. Those aren't very fast. Okay, they can be fast depending on the volume, but what is fast is right away. If you've got the money, you can get calls right away. Like
Yep.
you can go to Google and you can literally pay them for an ad, and you can be number one at the top of their page if you're willing to pay enough money for roofer Las Vegas. Like
Right.
someone types that in, and the roofer Las Vegas that put that ad in there gets a link to their particular website, and then if the website does a good job and the follow up does a good job, their roofer has a new job. The problem with fast market is that's like an hour later, like 10 minutes later, once you put an ad up, you can get
Right.
things like that. And there's other ads like that that are toward the top of a Google page. The problem is it's going to cost a lot of money. In fact, it's going to cost so much money, uh, it probably won't pay for itself unless you've got a major service that you charge plenty of money for. Like maybe a roofer might pay uh,
Right.
for that because it's a $10,000 job.
Right.
Okay, but now like let's say they pay $150 for that link, and they might. Like at this point, things are kind of crazy in that
You
market.
bet.
So it's going to take 10 links. That's $1,500 before they're going to get a customer at best. Like really, a lot of people are going to click on that link and not even call a lot. And so if
Yes.
you get 1 out of 10, you must have done a lot really well, had a really great website, really good advertising. So that's $1,500. Now, if it's a $10,000 job, that probably is going to be covered, probably. But now suppose you're a plumber and your average service call is $200 and you pay $1,500 to get the lead. Good luck with that. It
Yeah.
just doesn't work out. And
Right.
this is something that these poor neophytes that are cold called all the time from various companies that say, look, just pay for our advertising and then, you're going to get lots of business. You know, there's a whole later in our discussion somewhere down the line in my book is about how to test various ads to see if they're going to work for you, whatever your company is, whatever your price level is. But the idea is you can get right away, you can get plenty of calls, but you're going to pay money for those no matter what it is. Uh, you're going to pay money for that. Like slow marketing is where you can have a website and you can gradually get credibility from Google as time goes by, and more certain pages on your website can come up maybe on the first page and be found when someone types in leaky faucet, fix it, or whatever they want to type in, like pool cleaning, uh,
Right.
Las Vegas, San Diego, doesn't matter. Uh, and that's theoretically free if you're just in the lower part of the website that isn't on the advertising part. So that's really great, but you need someone, of course, to maintain the website. If you know how to do it yourself, it is free. It's only your time. There's no marketing that's free. Nothing. Like even repeat and referred business, they call that free marketing. It's not free. You did a whole job there. You worked
Exactly.
for 3 days on that project, and now you get a referral. Now the referral is nice to get, and it didn't cost you any more dollars, but you did spend time and energy to have a happy customer. I mean, of course, you need to do that every time you want a job anyway. But so the slower the marketing, the less it costs is a pretty good bet, you know. And I've got
Yes.
really slow, like in my company, 40 years later,
Yeah.
that's slow marketing. I have customers from 40 years ago that
Right.
like they're generational. Like they have like their kids are calling and they're, oh yeah, there's a sticker on my electrical panel that says call when you have a circuit breaker problem, and they do. That's slow marketing because that happened, like 22 years ago. That sticker was
Right.
placed.
Right.
So and I 22 years ago, maybe that electrician that did that job, one of my guys, didn't feel like putting a sticker on that day or whatever. So we have to like really be after people to make sure
Yep.
every job gets promotion. It
Yes.
takes like seconds to put a sticker on a panel, but now multiply that by, in my company, more than 5,000 jobs a year times
Right.
20 years. That's
Yeah. It's
that's a
like a
lot.
million.
It's 100,000
Okay.
stickers.
My math didn't work.
Right. And it the first year, nothing much happens. Second year, not so much. But
Yeah.
30 years later, that's very slow, but the marketing is there to where now I've got a 30-person company busy all the time. And
Right.
it's maybe one crew is working because of new promotion that happened that day. The rest of it is pretty much slow marketing. But the fast marketing, if you have the money and you can find something that really pays off, and I every now and then can find something like that, sure, I'll do it. And or I even take a gamble sometimes, and I'll lose a little money on an ad, thinking, yeah, but the repeat business within 6 months is going to pay off. So
Right.
that's the concept. The faster it is, the more it costs you, either time or money. And the slower it is, the more effective it becomes as over time.
Yeah. And you need a mix of all of it.
Yes. Yeah, it helps to have, like, if I don't have that one crew from the advertising and promotion we did that day, there's attrition, and
Right.
so ultimately, if you don't ever get new blood from that kind of thing, eventually you may lose enough from attrition to start contracting in your business. So you got to keep pumping new blood into it. Sure.
Yeah. I like that in the chapter you talking about, dedicating a budget to your marketing. So yeah, you can't, I do run into a lot of people who, or occasional, more often than I like, that say, I don't do any marketing. I live off my repeat business and referrals and stuff. Man, to me, that's just, well, if you've been in business for decades, then of course, you can get away with some of that. But as you say, you'll still going to face attrition. But the guys who are only in for a few years, because they don't know marketing or they feel like it's sales and they don't like sales and they don't want to be salesy or pushy or something like that. Um, well, you're just not going to get business, and it's you're putting your company in the hands of your customers, your past customers to bring you new business. It's unless you've been in for 10 plus years, I don't think that's a good path to go down. So I didn't mean to go down there.
A couple other thoughts on that
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Like, one of them is another thing that people can say, contractors, look, I've got these, I'm a, I'm an electrician. I've got these three general contractors that keep me busy all the time. I
Right.
don't need to promote,
Yep.
and so they don't save any money for promotion. They just do the work and spend the money and they're all happy, and that's great until contractor A gets a heart attack and contractor B marries somebody who's got a brother-in-law who's an electrician. Contractor C,
Exactly.
they find a cheaper guy, or they get upset with you for some reason. And I'm telling you for sure, after 40 years of this, like, it's the rare company that is still there. My company is like the little engine that could. It just keeps going
Right.
and going and going, but it runs on coal. And I got to keep reaching out there and getting more coal to put in the
Yep.
engine. And
Yep.
all around me, this is a crazy analogy, but like
No, I like it.
giant insurance companies, like I remember one, their motto was, it's no problem, until they went out of business, like, or like Solar City. We did like,
Uh,
at the height of them, it was like $1 million a year. We were doing made electrical panels for their solar work. They're like nowhere now. Like, you think,
yeah.
well, wait a minute, Solar City, that's Elon Musk, but no, not so much. Like Tesla, like, we could be wiring up their factories. Now we're not, okay, but
Boom.
someday Tesla will go away. I don't know why. Maybe they'll go in house if they weren't before, and suddenly they don't want to use a contractor on the outside. That can happen. We've
Yep.
had every possible thing happen.
Yeah.
And we're still
Management.
there. And the only reason we're still there is we keep promoting new blood, new blood, new blood. And some of the new blood turns into big, you know, contractors or customers. And then I remember, I think it was EL Payne, or like this air conditioning company that had everything. They invented air conditioning or something, and they've been around for like 120 years, and they have like customer base out the wall. And then we were doing work for them, a lot of work every day. We do at least one air conditioner installation somewhere, the electrical part. And then the son took over. The son who liked cocaine, and company. One day the phone didn't work anymore. Like you just
Wow.
call them and nobody was there.
Wow.
It happens. And
Yeah.
so, yes, word to the wise, always get new blood to go. That's
Yeah. Yeah. The whales are nice, but beware the whale. Management change, like you say, ownership change. Anything can happen.
yeah,
Don't.
never have more than 25% ever in
Yeah.
one company of your gross income. And
Hmm.
make sure that the 3/4% that's not part of that, not 3/4, but 75%, that's enough to keep your business running.
Right.
Those two rules. Like
Yeah.
if I hadn't done that with Solar City when I had $1 million, I better have $4 million coming in. And
Right.
all of a sudden I had 3 million,
Right.
and now I've got more because I kept expanding, but not because of the help of Solar City. And imagine that phone call I got, which I got. It's like, yeah, Kim, like we decided to go in-house. Only what they really were saying is we don't have enough work anymore, but we've
Right.
got this one guy, Joey, that can go out there and then they kept calling us for the hard jobs anyway. And
Uh,
because anyway, it was interesting, but that's another rule. Never depend on one customer for sure. Don't.
yeah. You'll get that call and you'll have what I call a Fred G. Sanford moment. I'm probably showing my age, but, it'd be like, oh, I'm having that heart attack. He used to call out to his
Oh
wife or
yeah,
something. I
yeah,
can't remember. Yeah, you don't want to have one of those moments. So, it's no fun losing a client, but exactly. If you're diversified, which is a sector in that marketing chapter, diversify your customers. You got to,
what other thing I thought of at the time. Okay, so yes, you just briefly touched on this. 10% of your gross income
right,
needs to go back into marketing. Nothing else, just marketing. The first 10%, like you can just say, well, it's $1,000 job, so I got to put $100 into the kitty for marketing, either now or sometime soon in the future. And then you think, oh, but I can't afford that. I need that money. Well, you know what that means? You need to charge
right,
$1,110. Then you better do that.
right.
And then if you've done your marketing well, so you're finding the right kind of customers. That's part of the skill of marketing is you find the
Yes,
customers that are willing to pay you 10% more than what you used to charge. And that's a totally doable thing. But here's the thing. Like I'll tell you where I'm at. Like because I have like a referred and repeat businesses like where it's at with me for sure.
right,
I still save 10%. Now I could say I don't even need that 10%. I have so many people referring us and everything. But I'll tell you what I use the 10% for because there's a whole nother aspect to marketing. Imagine having so many calls coming in, which we do, and emails and stuff like 200 a day, of terms of emails and whatnot. You need staff people. You need a team of people to
right.
just reply to those emails and phone calls. Well, you know what? That's marketing. So most of my 10% goes back to support the promotion we're doing that doesn't cost anything. By the time your promotion is so good that you hardly need it because so many people are calling in, the only reason that'll work is because you've had to hire people to handle all the traffic, which that costs money. So
Right.
that's part of it. So you don't have to like literally give 10% to Google every month. Like
Right.
that's a little more like what you do in the very beginning of a business.
Yes.
But as time goes on, you got to start thinking about staff member time, and they get paid a salary. And where's that money going to come from? It can come from the marketing budget.
Yeah. Yeah. in the beginning, you touched on something there. I'd like to work backwards from it, maybe. So yes, so you're adding 10% to your cost of your jobs for the marketing, always, even as a referral job or whatever.
Sure.
But you touched on something, and I think people should start like here and then work their way backwards towards slow and fast marketing and stuff. So in the chapter, and you just mentioned it again, start with the jobs that you like and want, right? How do I, this is these three jobs are the jobs I want. If I'm a plumber, maybe that's repipe and water heaters, slab leaks or something. And then how do I divvy that up between slow and fast marketing? And then make your game plan based on the types of jobs you want. So speak to that a little bit, Kim. You mentioned it in this chapter here, and I think it's a key factor.
Okay. Um, let's take a plumber. And you mentioned slab. What was it?
Yeah, it's like a foundation leak. Your pipe is in the foundation, starts leaking, hot water line usually.
Right. Okay. So let's take that: a foundation leak and water heater replacement and
Repipe.
a complete repipe.
Yeah,
I would imagine most plumbers, if they know how to do that work, are pretty happy about that because they're pretty lucrative for the time they're going to spend doing that work. So they're going to make a per hour nice amount of income. So that so far so good. That's the first marketing concept. Make sure that you're, you know, the money is going to be there for you to be able to afford 10% in back into marketing. So I'm going to assume that's the case with those three types of jobs.
yes.
So if someone came to me and they said, that's the kind of jobs I want to get. So speaking to that, this is what I would tell them. All right, get your internet marketing guy to make 3 pages for you. Each one is specifically devoted to that specific thing. Then maybe even make videos on it, like just really like get a video on each of those pages of testimonials from customers that have already done those kind of jobs. Like really knock it out of the park with each
Nice.
page for a complete house repipe. Like, and you find out what all the buttons are. Well, we don't want to move out of our house. We don't want it to be dirty and dusty. We want to be able to use our bathrooms every day while you're doing the job. There's a lot of walls that get torn up. Like we need painting done at the same time. Whatever the buttons are for the go buttons and the negative buttons on, you put them all on that page. So now you've got a really excellent sales tool. Now here's the coolest trick in the planet. People that want to repipe for a house and they live in Fair Oaks, California, or something. Google now knows where people are when they know where the URLs are coming from and whatnot. But even more, people sometimes will type in repipe Fair Oaks, California, or they might type in what's inexpensive repipe jobs, or what does it cost for a repipe job?
Cost of a repipe. Yeah.
Whatever they type in, the keywords are repipe. And even after so many years, it's a couple decades now of internet marketing, most people don't know this or do this. That is, you make your ads. This is the fast marketing. You make your ads. I knew I'd get there for you here on the fast marketing. You make your ad specific to, say, repipe San Jose or words around that phrase. Okay. And here's the thing about pay-per-click advertising that costs literally, say, $100 for plumber San Jose. It'll cost sometimes $3 for repipe my house San Jose.
Right.
Like it's because it's much more defined than plumber. Plumbers,
Right.
all trades, it's everything. And most plumbers think that's the way to go. They don't really get it's way better to be super specific when
Yes.
they're putting in an ad, a pay-per-click ad, but it just pays off hugely because you pay so much less and you get the exact customer you're looking for who goes to the exact page that you've made exactly for them. And if you multiply those three things by the best page and the best customer and the best price to get that customer, you're I don't know, 2,000% literally 20 times more likely to have a good experience with that kind of marketing campaign, uh, which is fast marketing. You could get what now it's slow to build the website, perhaps slow to build that particular page. But once you get the basic website built and you trust somebody and they know what they're doing with marketing, it's a lot faster to get each page done. The pages you need, and then you title the page. We're getting into SEO stuff, but you title the page the exact thing that they're typing in, and Google really likes that.
Yeah.
So they actually charge less per click when it's relevant, believe
Right.
it or not.
Yes.
Anyway, bottom line is you can do that, and fast marketing can work for you. Even that, though, which is phenomenal, doesn't work as good as 20 years later when someone's
Right.
typing in how much does it cost for a repipe in at my house, and Google knows it's San Jose, and they look around and they see a website that page that you made 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago, it's all about that.
Yeah.
You'll be on the front page. Like my company has a lot of number one on the front page past the
Right.
mandatory advertisements that have to be at the front. And I know I don't pay a dime for them, but
Right.
I've paid probably $1 million to all the electricians and all the
Right.
material and everything for the last 30 years for
Right.
that kind of project, but I don't pay for it a second time, and I made profit on all those jobs anyway. Now I pay my men or women or whoever it is that's going to answer the phone to handle that person when they're calling in. It's become the main part of my marketing budget is just dealing with the customers. But that's the slow marketing end of it. But the fast is, yeah, you can do that if you're willing to spend some money to build a good website and then build a beautiful page and then have a little budget for your, pay per click. I'm saying pay per click. There's a lot of different versions of it, but the main
Sure.
thing is when someone clicks on something, there's an accounting that you have to make, and that's dollars into whatever company you have an agreement with on that.
Brilliant strategy there, Kim, and that's good for newbies and veterans alike, right there. So, and I would throw into the mix, if you're running Google Ads, you can run their keyword planner. It's in their tools section, keyword planner, and you can put in, like in our example, slab leak, foundation leak, you know, related terms, and it will give you the other related keywords, and you'll see that, hey, maybe the phrase that you typed in was no good. But more importantly, you can identify which are the top ones for your page, right? What phrase for your page? But then also you're going to look for that long tail, so that longer keyword that is got a very low bid on it, and that's your, as long as there's decent traffic there locally, that's your page that you just described, your long tail, low competition keyword that's still going to deliver you that perfect customer. Brilliant. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and Mark, the thing is, there's something I'm sure there's programs out there that have these algorithms to figure this out. But now imagine that you have one that's uh, replace water heater San Jose. And actually, I bet you that's expensive to buy. But let's just
Very.
say you take that, right?
Yeah.
And you can get like 100 a week clicks. Google will tell you 100 people a week
Right.
search for that particular keyword. And it costs X amount of, let's say it costs $22 for each click or something like that. I don't really know, but let's just say it did, right? But now, suppose you have one that says, uh, how much does it cost to replace a water heater? Like exactly that, just that exact thing as a exact phrase like a
Yeah.
exact match. It has to say exactly that, and there may be only 3 of them, okay, like a week that do that, but it costs $2 like for that. And you know what? Like if you match for that, maybe you'll get one of those, and you will have spent $6,
Crazy.
and that's way better than if you got like 10 of the other kind of job that you paid, 150 for. Like you actually make more profit on only getting 3, not to mention you saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Saved a lot
you
of
really have
time.
to factor that in. How much is the click, and how many people call, and how much profit will you make compared to certain keywords that you hardly get any clicks on, but you
Right.
have much better response on, and you pay so much less for, especially in bigger metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
You can really benefit if you get clever and you spend a day really way out there thinking of a lot of long tail keywords that with exact matches.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might wind up with a bunch of campaigns or ad groups in a campaign, but and for people who don't know, so Google search ads has like three ways you can classify the search phrase. So broad match, which means, if you're using the word water heater, anything having to do with water heater, you'll show up for. My personal advice, don't ever, ever
Yeah,
use
really.
broad match keywords. Although Google Ads will constantly, in the recommendations, will constantly be trying to nail you into using a
That's
cost
why
per
you don't take their
acquisition.
advice. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, because they make it's good for Google Ads, not good for
Well, it's
you.
like when you're a car salesman. So, like, should I buy the like $20,000 car or the $50,000 car?
Right.
Get a commission the same on each one. So, like in terms of the percentage, which one are you going to recommend to me? Oh, I know.
Exactly.
Go figure.
Exactly. Yeah, stay away from the broad match. And they will default when you if you're doing a review weekly or monthly or something of the search terms your ad did come up for. You can add in some to the search phrases you want to show up for, and others for the negative ads. I don't want to show up for this phrase anymore. But you can keep your campaign narrow, so you can use exact match. So there's broad match, phrase match, which we use a lot, put in quotes, and it has to have those words in there, usually some kind of buying signal, or exact match, which is what you're talking about here. So we're going to use that long tail keyword in exact match mode, and we're only going to show up for that. So a super excellent strategy.
Oh, and
Love
one
it.
other thing, just as a there's another thing you can do, and you have to do it. There's something called negative keywords, like where
Yes.
like you could like if you don't know what you're doing, you might put in house painter Los Angeles. I don't know what that would cost, but plenty if someone and a broad match. So anything at all to do with house painting in Los Angeles, you're going to get it,
Yeah.
and you're going to be real sorry. But
Yeah.
like one thing, at least you don't have like when people type in how much do I get paid if I become a house painter in Los Angeles?
Right.
You,
Right.
you really don't want that ever. Like, because do you think that's a customer? No.
No.
So you need to like figure out how to get rid of all those. And there's something called negative keywords that you can. I
Yeah.
used to have a service where I would do, pay-per-click marketing, and for some of my clients that I built websites for. I don't do
Oh,
that anymore. But when I did, we had hundreds of negative keywords that we learned by experience. I should just
absolutely.
sell the list to everybody. It's very valuable. It just saves so much money for wasted clicks, that
Yeah.
you're not
Some
going
common ones are DIY, cheap,
to. Yeah.
inexpensive, whatever the words that you don't want, training, schooling,
Employment,
licensing.
yeah,
Yep.
helper,
Yeah.
yeah,
Distributor, store. Like, I don't want a water heater depot store. I want water heater repair, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you and I, Mark, are we have a lot of experience, I think, with these things. So we're kind of far afield from the concepts of
Yeah.
that's not when someone doesn't know anything about marketing yet and also works out of the garage to get started as a company. You don't want to get into this anyway.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah. If you're coming out of the gate, I would stay away from Google
You
Ads.
probably don't have enough money to do the ad. Pay per click is expensive.
Very.
You need some experience under your belt to get started with that. But
Yeah.
when you do, find yourself a great website with a terrific page, and then go with very, very specific keywords. If you don't do that, I don't care. I don't think there's any exception to this rule. Do that, and at least you have a small chance of making it work out. If
Yeah.
you don't do
Agreed.
that, like you're gonna be sorry.
Agreed. If you're coming out of the gate, I would cautiously recommend a pay-per-click marketing company in your niche, whatever your niche is, and not somebody who does it for multiple different industries. And even then, you're going to have to watch them like a hawk. But as you could tell by our conversation here, it's a dangerous it's a dangerous world in the PPC. And literally, if you don't set budgets and stuff, you could go through thousands of dollars in a single day.
Absolutely. Short budgets are good to go. Short
Yeah,
timing and small amounts. And you'll find out when they talk about small amounts, when they're talking about a few $100s, that's when you realize, oh, this is expensive.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
definitely expensive kind of marketing.
Exactly. And you need a big enough budget to serve up enough leads so you can get conversions, which is a whole nother thing. Man, we could have ten calls just on Google Ads. Anyway, hire a pro and be careful. That's what I would say. And watch your pro like a hawk. And of course, track everything, right? So tracking numbers on Google Call Ads. Uh, don't send them to your home page, send them to that service page. So in our example, the slab leak page or the water heater page, or in your case, the electrical service panel page, whatever the service is, that's where they got to land on. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. I
Yeah.
would add to that, like, so back to your slow. So now I'm going back to the slow world. Free guides, man. People want to know. Let's use tank versus tankless, right? Which water heater is best for me? And then you can find, is tankless in northern climates? you know, there's all kinds of drill down. So a free guide. So let's say free electrical, it would be maybe your electrical panel. I don't know what kind of questions people ask about electrician stuff, but what are my choices for an electrical panel? What are my choices for repipe, PEX versus copper? Put out a little free PDF guide or have somebody interview you. If you don't want to write, put it on audio or video or find your comfortable medium and do a little spiel on that and then post that all over social media and stuff and on your site and stuff, right? Free guides.
Yeah, I actually have one for customers that's how to pick a good contractor.
Perfect.
It's a PDF and it's got something like 30, like a table of contents, and it just jumps right to the area that they want to see because I don't think
Perfect.
anyone in their right mind wants to read the entire thing. It's pretty
No.
thorough, but it's
Yeah.
someday I may even pass it out to like I don't know what my customer base is that I've got on a computer, but I know if I passed it out and said just thought I'd give you guys some tips on what to do, that I'd get a lot of calls back, but
Mm.
we're at we don't need the work. Like we're afraid to get more work. Like that's somehow things have really kind of snowballed right now.
Well, that's
But
the
while we're on the phone, I just want to try one thing.
fire
Uh,
away.
I want to try. Let's see, electrical panel upgrade, Los Angeles. I'm just curious to see what happens when I do that. There's always sponsored ads. Like that's a whole nother level of like Google's
Yep.
become a
Looking for keywords.
yeah, we're number one. Like I looked because I haven't looked in 3 years maybe about that, but my website, and when I touch on my website, which is the first, what's called the organic, it doesn't cost any money. What it goes to is this page right here. Oh,
Main
look,
panel
there's a
upgrade.
video. Oh, look, there's a title. Why do you think Google thinks we're
And
the
the
best site?
city. Yep.
Okay. Now that cost me not one penny. But if I wanted to, I could put electrical panel upgrade Los Angeles, or maybe more like how much is an electrical panel upgrade in Los Angeles or something. Just find general things and pay very small, relatively small amount in Google pay per click. If I was doing fast marketing, I would have already built this page and then it would just go to that same page. But because
Right.
this is a
Right.
result of slow marketing where Google over the years has just decided this is it. It's been like number one for a decade at least. And you'd think other people would get a clue. Like they'd think, oh, this is a good marketing strategy. I'm going to do that. I'm going to hire someone to do it. But someday maybe they will. But at the moment, this is wide open territory as far as
That's
I can see.
a good point. Yeah. So several good points in there. So exactly,
I
if you're
know
gonna
another slow marketing way as well. If you want to hear
fire
that one,
away,
I got one that takes no money, but it takes sweat equity and it takes patience and a bit of a, I don't know, a will to understand how it works. But like you build the page of, let's say a plumber does complete repipes or something like that. Well, another whole marketing strategy is to put a lot of time and energy and sometimes money into finding a really good customer. And a really good customer isn't always like just a couple that are millionaires and they love you and they're going to pay you more than normal anyway, and they love you and they may call you once every 5 years for something, that like a residential thing. A really good customer is a general contractor or a property management company who, that, you know what, they manage. I have this one that manages like 5,000 single family residences, if you can believe that. It's a
wow,
really unusual business model.
wow,
And so they're always needing an electrician for one thing or another. And the reason that they call us all the time is because one time we called that company and said to them in this hard sell pitch, this cold call, hey, listen, do you guys ever need an electrician for anything? And they, well, yeah, sometimes we have it. Well, is there a guy I can talk to you about that? Because, that's what we do. Yeah, you can talk to Joe. Okay, what's his phone number and email address? Oh, it's this. And then send an email to him. Hey, Joe, your receptionist Sally said that maybe we should talk to you about this. I got, and then it just happens right then they need somebody for something, and then yeah, you could do this one job for us, and that one job becomes countless little jobs, which become bigger jobs and bigger jobs until for an electrician, we're going to rewire that particular house. Or for that management company, they now have a building with 50 units that the insurance company said, you've got Federal Pacific panels, you need to replace them all.
wow,
Each one is $1,000, not to
nice,
mention the main electrical service.
right,
Now, I'm giving you examples of things that have happened to me, and I don't mean occasionally. I mean, this is how our business, that slow marketing, that particular thing where you call people and you don't give them a hard sell, you just ask them a question.
right,
Do they ever need anybody? And then you follow up with a good CRM system, customer relation management system.
yeah,
Uh, the problem is, I didn't say this one little detail. Yeah, and we made 100 calls before that.
right, right, right,
100
right,
calls, and maybe about 25% said, yeah, sure, send it over. And then they get the email and they go, delete, but maybe one out of every 100 calls, no, not one, let's see, five out
sure,
of 100 will pay attention to you. And a year later, we'll get a call from one of those five. Yeah, we need somebody because the last electrician that we were very faithful keeps raising their prices. So
right,
we're going to try somebody new.
right,
All I can tell you is that's the slowest, grinding, miserable kind of, if you're like expecting a job right away, forget it. But
right.
in terms of overall power and value, I've never seen anything that matches it. That's the super slow and super effective marketing. And if somebody, I don't care what kind of trade it is, if they could figure out how they could find repeat business from a particular, either it's a general, it's a property management company, it's who knows what. For a while Sears was hired us to fix all their problems. That
Oh, wow.
whatever it is, if somebody could make 5 phone calls a day, like the guy, he works for himself, he's out of his garage, he comes home, he's beat, but he makes 5 phone calls. He gets a good list of the exact kind of, like, either property management companies or, like, we did air conditioning companies because a lot of them didn't know how to run power to their air conditioners,
Oh, wow.
that kind of thing. We've
Nice.
done a lot of different experiments and stuff.
That's smart.
And believe me, as if he did that every day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month or whatever, he, within a couple of years, would never be slow again if he continued to do it. Just that one kind of marketing. And that's for sure slow marketing. But
That's the
Follow
best.
it up, but like always backed up by that page on the website.
Yeah, that's referral partners. Nothing better than referral partners, right? If you're a home
Yeah, we
contractor.
have property management companies every day. We don't have to ever promote to them again.
Yeah,
Well, the promotion is good quality work.
yeah.
That's
I got a couple guys who, have been slow last month, and that's what I was recommending to them. Like, hey, man, feels like we're dipping into a little slow time, and you can't rely on ads. You never should have. you know,
yeah,
uh, but you need to take his HVAC guy had some downtime. I said, well, then he needs to call. Well, we can market differently online to professions, but if you got some downtime, exactly, pick up the call. And property managers, apartment complexes, condo complexes, on and on. You know better than I. So, and man, those are just gold. If you're going to stumble on one, just like you were saying, the reverse with the big whales. Somebody's going to change ownership. Something's going to happen. You're going to lose one. Well, the same advantage you have going in, or the same potential while you're calling. They could have just changed management or had a bad experience, whatever have you. You just need one of those guys is very valuable over time.
absolutely.
I would start with the slow stuff too. You were slow, fast, right? So you need that service page, that good landing page on your website to then promote the PPC ads. So, in a lot of cases, you're going to start with the slow marketing and, and then, point your fast marketing to it.
You could it all for see maybe it's just because I understand from my point of view you can't do anything without an internet these days. Like if there was no internet, I would not have a 30-person company. I wouldn't be
Right.
sitting here chatting away while a bunch of people are making money for me. I would not do that. I couldn't have possibly have done that.
No.
It's all about internet marketing. It doesn't have to be complex, though. The basic concept is get a really good website, put very specific pages on it, and then direct people to that page. Find the people that are going to respond to that page and get them to look at that page. It's what it really comes to, and including next door neighbors that say, "Yeah, in my case, the electric connection did a job for us last year. Yeah, they're pretty good." Because they'll be asked. Somebody is going to ask that neighbor someday.
Yeah.
And do they call me? No, they go to the website. And they look it up. They go, first of all, they go to Google and they say, oh, look, uh, 500 5-star reviews and nothing else. Oh, look, there's a little fly speck on the one 1 star
Right.
relative to the 500. There's like two, or whatever it is. Or they go to Yelp, and they look at the
Right.
reviews. That's like 500 neighbors telling them how great the company
Exactly.
is. If you do quality work. If you can't do quality work and make happy customers, keep working for whoever you're working for now, and save yourself some trouble and time.
Yeah.
It's critical that quality work is, in a sense, the number one thing for promotion is quality work for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. If you're not obsessed with your what you do for people, and the key is for people, then yeah, just keep your job. Exactly. It's not worth it. Entrepreneurship, running a business is super difficult. I'm still trying to get the hang of it.
And
And
it took
it's
me
not
20 years, maybe
yeah,
30. I
yeah.
don't
It
know.
takes a long ass time. There's a lot to learn. So yeah, if quality and super excellent service to your customer isn't first and foremost in your mind, don't even bother. You just struggle, right? It's
It,
struggle enough even doing that, but
yeah,
yeah,
earlier we've already talked about, like, if you don't understand your own trade, don't start yet. Like, don't do
good
that.
point.
Like,
Yeah,
because you don't need that problem. Like, you're going to have plenty of other problems. What you don't need is, how do I, oh, I don't know quite how to do this. I better go figure it out now. Don't do that. Like, if you take on a job, try to pretty much know what that job is. Yes, you keep learning as you go. I for sure did. I didn't start off with $1 million projects, but
right.
I'm just saying, I had enough training and knowledge to know how to do the jobs I was doing then. And if there was one little tiny thing I might learn on each job, great. That's the way to go. In the same way, the second thing, you don't need a problem business that you have upset customers that aren't going to refer you. Like, just like you need to know your own trade, you really need to do quality work. And that's a whole division of problems you're not going to have then, trying to handle upset customers or wonder why no one refers you. Those two are number one and number two. Without they're kind of they're not money issues at all. They're just who you are and your history and your intentions. You've got to have those two things going for
Yeah,
yourself.
100%. You're not going to get any money without without them. That's for sure. They're
Or
not
at
money
least you won't get
related.
any money after, the first week or something.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, I want to close out with, I think this is in this chapter here. So forgive me if I jump ahead a little bit, but you just touched on it a little bit, and that is, you know, uh, going after good or great customers and avoiding the bad ones. Want to touch on, so sometimes we get a little hard up for business, especially we're coming out of the gate, and we start taking on any kind of job, any kind of customer. Next thing you know, life is a freaking nightmare. So talk to that a little bit, Kim, and we'll close out with that.
Okay. The good news about this, what I'm going to say is the best customers pay you the most money. Like they're not the best because they pay you the most money, although that doesn't hurt. They're just the kind of people that want quality. So again, it goes back to quality. They expect you to be honest and competent and keep your scheduling agreements. They expect those things. They want you to be organized. They want you to be a good communicator. Those things, though, your best customers want that. And the reason they want that is because that's who they are.
Right.
They are those people. They appreciate honesty, competency, good communication. Now, I have a whole list somewhere, down the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to find those kind of people, and then you need to charge 10% more than the average electrician will or in a tradesman will be, and you give them 10% more quality service or product
Value.
or both. And if you do that, you're going to have a happy repeat customer who pays you 10% more than the average customer will. Okay, the opposite of that is when you have a customer that the first question they ask is like, well, can you be a little cheaper? Like, I got a better price from somebody else. Money, money, money. It's price, price. You know, a quality customer wants value. A non-quality customer wants cheap. Like it's not the same thing at all. And
Yeah.
so
That
you'll
was,
make more money with that, and that extra money you put into marketing for those better customers. And the way you market for better customers is you provide quality materials for them to look at. Again, a quality website, quality page that says exactly what it is. And then you talk about how you use the best equipment and the best service. And you have people, if you have pictures of people, they don't have t-shirts on that are crummy looking.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't go so out of control. Like I never have on my website, like beautiful nighttime nightscaping lighting for the backyard or something, because people go, oh, that's so beautiful, I can't afford it. Like you don't want to be that.
Right. Right.
You just want to be above average, super quality, honest, competent, schedule oriented, and good communicator. If customers think those things about you, they weigh it all, and then they decide based on all that stuff, are you a good value? That's the kind of customer you want, and you market toward that, not toward cheap.
Yeah.
Never say call everybody else first and then call me. I'm the cheapest. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You will
Exactly.
get cheap people, and they will bargain with you. And then when you're all done and you've given them the stuff, so you suddenly realize that you forgot something and you just broke even or even lost money on the job, and then they won't pay you half the time, or you spend half your time trying to collect money from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just nothing good about money oriented cheapness. That
Yeah.
just doesn't work.
They're big complainers too.
Quality customers want a quality job. Give it to them. Promote that you give it to them. And one final thought, like just happened yesterday. We bid a job for a customer, and it was $102,000 or something like that. And the reason was we were going to like upgrade a 400 amp main electrical panel for their apartment and change some sub panels and whatnot. And we figured out a way where it was going to be a $300,000 job that other people had figured out. We figured out with water and power, we worked with them because we have experience. Instead of putting in single phase, we'll put in a 3-phase 400 amp service, which will equal an 800 amp single phase, which everyone else bid. And so
Oh,
because of that, we didn't have to do engineering and this and that. And by the time we
nice.
were done, it saved them huge amounts of money. Here's the thing. Okay, so I got a phone call from the property management guy who said, well, this customer wants to know something about that bid. They're so grateful and thankful. We just saved them, 2/3 of whatever it's going to be. I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the question that they had for me was, could you do the job for $70,000?
Wow.
And I told him back. I said, "Listen, property management guy, I know you're not saying that, so I'm not mad at you or upset or anything like that. You can just tell them, well, our profit margin after everything is said and done, there's a 10%. We've got plenty of years to figure out what 10% to a quality job is. That's what we know it's going to be. So we have $10,000 to make a profit. If we do it for $90,000, we just did the job for free. If we
Yep.
do it for $70,000 job, we just paid you $20,000 for the privilege of giving you an excellent product that we've already
Right.
saved you $200,000 on.
Right.
So ultimately, you'll have to decide what you want to do. This is not Mexico. We never bargain. Not we give you the best shot. We don't play games with you. Like we're not the kind of customer that or
Yep.
electrician that does any other way. So that's what I said. Now, which are they the cheapy guys or are they a quality customer? I don't have to I don't have to worry. They'll tell me. Like they'll either accept the bid and be
Right.
appreciative of the communication I gave back, or they'll go, oh, well, I'll just shop around until I find a cheaper guy.
Right.
If they do, I've just saved myself a lot of grief.
Right.
If they don't and they actually want to do the job for 100 grand, I just made 10% profit.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm good to go either
Either
way.
way.
I'm disappointed with them, especially them. It was sarcastically great service so far, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they'll prove out one way or another. And they may even call a couple more people
Sure.
and they may try to get another bid but they'll be looking at that electrician and they'll be asking themselves, do I trust this guy as much
Right.
as these guys? Probably not. And so even if their price is a little lower, they may come back to us anyway, but they know I've drawn a line in the sand. Yes or
Yeah.
no, this is it. Like a
Yeah.
doctor. Yeah, I'm a surgeon and I have better results than that surgeon. But if you want to pay cheaper prices for that surgeon, it's your body. Go for it.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there's that to be said, guys. Like try to
Yeah.
not compromise with your quality and don't let these guys chisel you down on pricing because you'll be sorry. And even working for the guys that try to do it, probably not the best.
Yeah. 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 I would agree with that too. If more they're, everybody's going to ask a price question at some point, of
Well,
course.
yeah,
But if more of their questions about price and less about your ability to do the job on time, quality, cleanup, all those kind of things, then yeah, you might want to you might want to test them a little bit to see which side of the fence they're on there. Whether they're going to be a pain in the ass or they're going to be a great customer.
I've had people tell me, listen, we really want you to do this job. We've had two other quotes that are lower than yours, and they've said to me, we're going to go with you. We know we're going to go with you. Is there any chance you can make this price lower? And there's a whole strategy for that. When you say, well, there are ways.
Sure.
We don't do this, if like it'll still be a quality job if we don't do this. And then
Yeah.
almost 100% of the time when that happens, they eventually say, never mind, just come out and
Right.
do everything.
Right.
Because, but like even quality guys sometimes try to get a bargain, but
Yep.
they're not embarrassed about it, but they are very acquiesce very quickly to, well, we tried, we don't care. Like, please
Exactly.
just come out. We respect
Exactly.
you even more now.
And there's ways to negotiate. Well, you said something earlier where somebody might drop their price for a certain, so we shouldn't, correct me if I'm wrong. You're in the business, not me. Well, we're all in the business of selling something for a price, but, we don't change our price based on the customer, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so don't do that, but you can negotiate. Sure, bring me, I don't know, whatever, two more jobs, similar clients or something, and maybe we can work something out or whatever. But it has to be a trade of value. Do you agree, or you say, this is my price
Well, like with that customer, there's nothing to say other than this is
to
my price.
trade?
But
Right,
with a management company, I can say, look, this job, this is what it is. But if you're going to be giving us work every week,
right,
we've already got our lines all grooved in. You just send us an email, we do the work and everything. That's probably worth 5% less
right,
than the average price that we charge everybody else for the exact same price. And we have a price book, so we're not kidding. Like
right,
we know
right, right,
exactly what we're going to charge you. And yeah, there is. I always, and anyone in my company, we have to have a logical reason to lower the
100,
price. It's never based on the need to get that job. It's There
yeah,
has to be a reason that price is going to go down that makes sense to both us and the customer, so they understand that they're not really bargaining. It's not a Mexico thing for you this special day. It's not like
right,
that. It's like,
right,
oh, yeah, we can use this material, not that, or we can do this, or we can do that, or
yeah,
you're right, you have volume of work that'll do it sometimes. And yeah, as long as there's a logical reason, they'll respect you. And it's important.
yeah,
Sort of like
yeah,
the old standard, you don't tell your daughters to have sex with everybody because it lowers the value of the merchandise. you, you want to have respect, and then it's more
exactly.
valuable. Like
Yeah, you're keeping the value. You might be trading or wheeling and dealing, but the value
the
is
value
still
has
the
to
same.
never go down,
Right,
ever. And
right,
that's what I tell my customers. If I've got more people in the office to handle your phone call, like you called and you're talking to me right away, that's why. That
right,
costs money. But
right,
like if communication is important to you, then it is. If you don't care and you're looking for the lowest price, perhaps we're not the best. If you can handle calling the inspectors yourself, if you can handle
right,
2 days for a phone call, maybe you'll save 10%. Maybe that's the way you should go. And
right.
I'm sincere when I say it.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
all the stuff I say, I haven't said it in years because I have
Yeah,
people.
well, you're not in the field anymore, but
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. We do quality work, on time. We're clean. We're licensed. We're insured. We pay our people. They have benefits. On and on and on. If that's what you want in a company, or if you want Joe, who might be licensed, probably doesn't have insurance, not paying his people very well, and he's going to do it for 30% less. Good luck.
yeah, and it could be, and we have a lifetime warranty as well to back up what we
See?
do,
Yeah,
so that's helpful.
exactly. And the decades in business to stand behind it and stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
still,
I say,
still
look, that
quality.
lifetime warranty isn't just for you; it's for whoever buys your property later.
Nice,
It's
nice.
transferable.
I
I
like
think
it.
in the 45 years we've been in business, not one time has someone come to me and said, "Yeah, I bought this house and I have a transferable lifetime warranty." But I mean, it's something. It's impressive when you say it.
Yeah. No, it's to the buyer and not so much to the, well, it might be valuable to that other new homeowner down the road.
Well, the fact is, a lifetime warranty it makes us money, because if we can't twist wires together that stay together, we do have to go back. Okay, but suppose when we get a call, the deal is, look, if it's something we did, it's free. If it's not something we did, of course we're going to charge you. Well,
Exactly.
guess what? It turned out not to be like 99 point something percent. It's maybe 3 times a year in 5,000 jobs. Maybe there's something that we have to go back for.
Yeah.
As
That's
opposed to
beautiful.
the 50 times a year we charge because it was something else.
Right, 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 right. Good stuff. Good stuff, Maynard. Kim, uh, how do people reach you? I always forget we're going to have to do that on each one. They might not have seen episode 1 or 2. So, how do people reach out and find you?
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote this book just to try to, help out the industry. Why, there it is. I think it's like 350 pages, something like that. It's everything I ever do. Everything important on how to grow a business from nothing, literally starting your first job to becoming a millionaire. It can happen in about 10 years. I don't know. Some people start late in life. And if you've got 20 years, you're
Oh, yeah.
in much, much better shape. I lost the first 20 years. Like I completely screwed up every possible thing. Every page I've lost $2,000 on, at least, not three or four, but then now the knowledge in those pages makes me I'm in a good situation now, financially, for
Yeah.
sure.
School of Hard Knocks right there.
Right. So it's called $1 Million Contracting. There's a website called $1 Million Contracting, which will get you to the book,
Oh,
or just go
perfect.
to Amazon and search for $1 Million Contracting.
Beautiful. There'll also be a link in the description below, right to Amazon and the book, and a link to his website, theelectricconnection.com.
Right. Which I don't know why, if you're well, I don't know that you need my electrical business, but you can take a look at the website that makes us a lot of money.
Study, you said that earlier. So study the web, how few people look at the entire ad chain to the landing page to what happens after that. So yeah, go look at the Electric Connection, well-designed site made for conversion. We'll dive into the book, and we'll see you next week for the next chapter. Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, and thank you, Mark. Good job on interviewing.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man.